Good morning, everybody. You are tuned to Computers 2K Now on the Nissan Communications Network. I'm Amnon, your host for the next couple of hours, along with Nick.
Good morning.
Good morning. And Katie's here.
Good morning, morning.
Good morning. And Gal is here.
That is correct. I am here.
Yep. Our Spence is out of town again, driving back right now, hopefully. Our number is 919-518-9773, Computers 2K Voice on Skype. And today's show is made possible by vMix Software and is sponsored by Tom Sinclair of Live Streaming. Yep.
It's Mother's Day.
It's
Happy
Mother's Day.
Yes.
Happy Mother's Day. All the mothers out.
So, Katie, have you
Yeah.
bought the new Zelda game?
No, I'm blasphemy because I don't really like the Zelda games.
Okay.
But I know everybody and their mom's playing it. being Mother's
Yeah,
Day.
that's kind of what I've seen as well. But it's 70. The new game price is $69.99. It's up. This is been happening over the last couple of years. Everything video games for I'd say at least the last 15 years, $59.99 has been the MSRP for any AAA full release title.
Yeah, what the
And
heck?
now it is now it's
70
69 and $70 is a lot of freaking money.
Yeah.
And it's a single player game, right?
Yeah, now I mean it's the last Zelda game, Breath of the Wild, was like essentially Grand Theft Auto, like in terms of its open worldness. It's an incredible game. But I'm sure I'm sure it'll be fantastic if it's anything like the last one. And it's definitely worth it based on the size of the game. You'll probably spend 40 hours playing it.
at least.
Which
I
at
know
least.
some of my friends put hundreds of hours into the last Zelda game.
Yeah, just running around and doing nonsense.
And speaking of expensive games, what is that one that came out a couple weeks ago and it was a hot mess? Redfall? Is that what it's called? Or the zombie one not zombie one, the vampire one?
Not Dead Island. I don't know.
It's the one that they launched the game. I think it's called Redfall. I don't know who did it. One of the big companies did it. Anyways, but basically they released a $60 or $70 game and like the characters didn't animate, the models were breaking. Like
yes.
it was like it basically it looked like a beta game and they were charging $60 for it.
Well, okay, so incorrect. They're charging $70 for it. It is $69.99. It's made by Bethesda.
That's
and
it,
on
Bethesda.
Steam, it has published by Bethesda, made by some other thing. It's got a mostly negative review on Steam with only 32% of the reviews being positive. Yeah, this is why people don't. So it's games like this.
So first of all, it sounds like 70 is the new 60.
70 is the new 60, but it's a game like this that spooks the entire industry because then people are hesitant. If you spent $70 on this, you're pissed. I mean, you spent $70 is a lot of money. You spend that on a game and it's not playable. Yeah, that sucks. That doesn't help the game industry. By the way, Bethesda's they're a Microsoft product now. Microsoft.
Yeah, they made Skyrim. If anybody's familiar with that.
Doom and everything else for, they've been making games for 40 years. Fallout, and
Doom.
all
Yeah, and
that
the
stuff.
only good the last thing they made good on was Fallout 4. After that, people started hating them.
Well, they've got their Starfield game that's supposed to be out later this year that looks absolutely incredible. Now that's actually a first party developed game. You know, being a publisher and being a developer are two different things. Now, if you're a publisher though, your name is still on it. So that's you want to make sure that whoever is developing it doesn't tarnish your brand. Um, but that's the modern, we've Brian and I have talked about this on Infection for years now, with specifically with these online, non how do I say this? These titles, they release them, they charge you full price, and then they fix it over a span of 6 or 8 months. By that point, you're already jaded and you don't want to play it again.
Yeah.
And it's a pretty good. I mean, it's a pretty good scheme if you can get away with it, which many companies have. But it really sucks for the consumer.
But
Mhm.
so this is a good point. So one of the questions I had to about Zelda, you mentioned $70.
Mhm.
It's supposed to be a great game. Do Nintendo ever discount the game?
It'll eventually be discount. So it came out early enough in the year that you'll probably find a Black Friday deal on it. That'll probably be your first chance for a deep discount. Um, More than just a couple of bucks.
So what, especially in a single player game, right? What is the
Mhm.
value of pulling the trigger as it comes out?
Exactly. That's why I haven't bought it.
Yeah.
We literally talked about this Tuesday night on on the show. Was
Mhm.
just like, hey, we
Waiting.
want we were just talking about the general status of the economy and how that's impacting game purchasing, and that's exactly it. This is a game that you know I'll get to when I get to. So I'll hopefully buy it. Yeah, probably Black Friday whenever it's on sale.
I've been doing that for years now. Waiting. I don't buy a game when it first comes out anymore. I haven't done that in like 15 years. I,
Multiplayer games, it's tough though.
yeah.
Like the
Yeah,
new
that's
Call of
true.
Duty, you don't want to wait. You wait to buy it on discount, and all of all the your clan, the group that you play with, is already on to the next game, and you're high and dry. I think that's the last $70 title I purchased was Call of Duty.
That's
Um,
true. Because I bought World of Warcraft when it first came out, but that's because it's multiplayer. If it's a
yeah,
single player game, I wait till like usually the next year because the next year is when it drops down by like 25% in price.
it's interesting.
Interesting.
It is
Uh,
interesting.
no, specifically about Zelda. No game on the Switch, right, cost $60 usually. I mean, even Zelda, when it came out on the Switch, the Breath of the Wild was $40.
That was their original price was $39 when the Switch came out.
Yeah.
And now Breath of the Wild, to be fair, came out like in
Yeah, but
2016 or so.
FIFA that same year was $60, right?
Oh,
So
interesting. So that
that's
was
what I'm saying.
Nintendo trying to make their first well, so Breath of the Wild was one of the early games on the Switch, and if I'm them, that's how you get you get people to buy the $300 console by selling the game for $40. Maybe that was probably the lure at that point. It was very early in the console's lifespan.
Yeah, it said 2017.
27. I mean, the Switch came out in I think 2016 or
Huh.
15, or now 16, I think. So, um, yeah, but yeah, $70. That's the new trend for AAA titles. Which kind of blows, but it's just kind of the status, I guess.
Well,
I'll just stick with PC games, and there's always some kind of sale on
Yeah.
Steam or Humble Bundle or wherever.
gotta
Has
pay to
Switch
play.
has Switch ever been successfully jailbroken?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know about jailbroken, but there are Switch emulators that you can use on PC. I'm sure it's been jailbroken. Homebrew is what they call it on the Nintendo platform, and I'm sure it has been.
Interesting. Very interesting.
So,
All right.
video gaming.
Google last Wednesday released MusicLM, a new experimental AI tool that can turn text descriptions into music. Available in the AI Test Kitchen app on the web, Android or iOS. MusicLM lets user type in a prompt like soulful jazz for a dinner party
Oh
or
wow.
create an industrial techno sound that is hypnotic and have the tool create several versions of the song. Users can specify instruments like electronic or classical as well as the vibe, mood, or emotion that they're aiming for as they define their music LM generated creation. Wow. I mean, that still is not copyrightable. None of it is copyrightable. But you can create your own music and use it, and nobody's going to say, hey, you can't do that. It's called Music LM.
There's
Yeah,
a there's a couple services that do this. I've used a couple of them before, just playing around with them.
Huh. What'd
yeah,
you
I think
say?
on the show here, I presented one thing, but I
I
don't
don't
think it's
find them to be all
accessible
that
yet.
impressive.
Yeah, the one that you made that girl sing, and I thought it
Right.
was
Yeah.
Katie. Yeah.
It's not. I don't find the music generation stuff all that impressive yet.
Yeah, that's a couple years away.
Oh,
I mean, if you're having a dinner party, like generate a dinner party, like so the benefit of non-licensed music is if you're selling it or doing something with it, you might be able to skirt any sort of copyright law or intellectual property. But if you're having a if I'm having everybody over for a dinner party, why not just pull up a Spotify or an
yeah.
Amazon playlist of that same kind of music? The use case for that to me just doesn't make any sense. You can ask Spotify to generate you a playlist that will fit a whatever you said, a mood or a vibe or whatever, however they classify it. It just seems to be a weird it seems like the use case for that stuff would be very very niche.
Mhm.
So I've seen um, a posting in LinkedIn by a prominent Israeli music producer, and he was stoked to his like by what AI can give him. Uh, specifically, he was um, conversing with ChatGPT, right? Using specific modules of specific, very popular music production software, and like it asked it to help it compose something, just giving it like a general concept of what he wanted. Let's say pretty similar to what he would talk with a colleague in the studio, and ChatGPT's output. He just took it and put it in music production software, and it gave him pretty much exactly what he asked, right? Without him needing to be uh, finding, getting something genuine, something new for him to work, something, and he was excited by the output. Now, this is somebody who sold uh, like who was number one on the charts in Israel years ago. So and he's still producing young musicians today. So he's like doing it day in day out, and he says having this at my fingertips, right, makes me even more creative and even more productive. So I don't know. It's apparently those who care about it, they it's going to mean something in the music production world as well. I don't think us as the consumer, we're the target for the AI generated music. It's the creator of music. They are the target for that. Same way as Midjourney, the uh, the target audience is actually artists who, once they'll know how to use stuff like Midjourney and Dali, right? their creation is going to be a lot more meaningful. It's not about let's fire all of the creative people. It's about how do we make the creative people produce stuff faster, more efficiently, and still very like more creative than before.
That's true, 'cause, I use Midjourney, and I actually have been using it quite a lot at work, and what I've been using it for is I make videos, and I need, to do backgrounds for some videos, and so I'll have it output kind of like I was doing like a racing video, and so I needed a stadium in the background. Well, I can't use any actual stadium things because they own the rights to the images and blah blah blah. So Midjourney made a fake stadium for me, and I cut it out and painted over certain things of it, trying to get the angle I needed and have it as the background image instead of me having to go out or recreate or draw the image, hand drawn it or whatever. Instead, I could get it like 50% done with Midjourney and then just touch it up to the angle that I need it.
Right. And makes you the artist a lot more right. You're a lot more productive because
Yeah.
you're not blocked. I always see it as the ultimate release of writer's block, right? It's like I I find it even in writing a script for some automation. It, you give me some code, I will modify that code. It might not even look like the code I got in the first place, and it'll work exactly the way I want. And it's a lot easier for me to take something and modify the way it works and coming up with something. And I think that aspect is going to be one of the biggest selling point of using AI on any creative work, any writing, composing, coming up with solutions, anything. Just give me a suggestion. That suggestion doesn't work for me. Give me another suggestion, right? Instead of and you don't feel like it's somebody else's suggestion is because you are the one vetting out these junk thoughts that are coming at you. They're generated by this machine, but they're not. They don't belong to anyone specific. So it's interesting. Every time we talk about it, it's like there's something. It brings something new to the table.
And to go on the same line with the AI, it's at least as good as our best customer service representatives, and it's probably on average better, said Wendy's CIO Kevin Pasconi to the Wall Street Journal.
Oh man, poor customer. The customer service is get. I worked in outward facing IT for a couple of years. That's not a fair representation of customer
Well,
service.
but hold it.
Uh,
After successful early tests, the fifth biggest fast food chain in the USA will start using AI chatbots to interact with drive through customers
Perfect.
next week,
Yeah, it's a
next
great
month.
use case for it.
The company has been working with Google on a number of machine learning and AI tools behind the scenes and is now extending that partnership to begin deploying a large language model generative AI system built on the Vertex AI platform that's custom trained to take over from human workers, taking drive-through orders and talking with customers. So if you're lucky to be in an area where they're doing it, you're in the drive-through, you may be talking to a machine. I
Well,
wonder
okay.
how.
Here's a just some context though.
Yeah,
How's that any different than IVRs in phone systems? I mean,
that's true.
you call
Yeah.
your bank right now, or you
Yep.
call Amazon right now. Well, maybe not Amazon. There's many companies that their entire your bank's a great example. You can call your bank and do a full transaction, transferring money from one account to another inside of your bank without ever talking to somebody
Right.
doing it through IVR.
Yep.
Now, I know it's IVR is not AI,
Now,
but in terms of it listening to a command like a number 3 with a Coke, I mean, it's not much different than what you're screaming at your IVR, about, you know, whatever you're trying to do via the phone.
I'm wondering if you'll be able to go through the drive-through, and when it starts talking, you can say, "Agent, agent." You want to talk to a person.
You know what's great though about, I don't know about Wendy's. I don't really go there, but I know that McDonald's is big with it, and I assume, and I know Chick-fil-A is big with it too. I'm sure other ones are as well. They're just pushing everybody towards their app. So, I mean, you sit in the drive-through, you order in on your phone while you're sitting in the drive-through, and then you get up to the window and you're like, "Yeah, I have a drive-through order," and they just give it to you. So you're not even interacting with anybody for ordering.
Oh,
That to me is that's the preferred method.
interesting.
The
How many
easiest
bumper
way.
cars crashes are there in drive-thrus now?
I mean, at Chick-fil-A, none because they've got their thing so freaking well managed. McDonald's, that's I mean, between bumper cars and, armed robbery, I'm not sure which one is, I'm not sure which one is a bigger threat. But I mean, the last couple of times I've ordered from McDonald's, I do the order it on my phone, um, w w or place my order here. Once you get there, you click on here, and then you tell it how you wanna get it, either go inside, go through the drive-through, or wait in a spot, and then you just click go through the drive-through or whatever, and then you don't have to deal with ordering through anybody. And that's the eventual, to me, that's their eventual solution. You won't even be able to order at the drive-through, it just won't be an option, which is probably for the best. It'll speed everything up.
Hopefully, so people won't have to.
Oh, it absolutely will. If you have to have if you have to have pre-ordered to go through the drive-through, then it solves that whole problem of, yelling back and forth and the whole thing.
AI will be good in the service industry because it will be an exchange where when you were talking about those phone services, it's like it has a predetermined set of instructions or whatever. So when the customer follows along that path, it knows how to respond. But as soon as a customer deviates and they ask some kind of crazy question, then it goes, "I'm sorry, do you want me to list the options again?" And then with the AI, hopefully it will be smart enough that it could take those questions and bring it back to the line of getting it through getting the customer through the process of whatever they're doing.
I'm actually envisioning a YouTube channel or a TikTok page feed where you'll see humans go and mess up with AI and see like what crazy response the AI will come up with in the service industry, right? You'll go to a Wendy's like this and try to find the prompts that will run it amok.
Yeah, so it provides entertainment too, not
Yes,
just
of
service.
course.
Yeah, that's fine. But no, I'm sure.
Yeah, I'll tell you what the biggest problem it is when something like this happens in in a country like the USA. Is the USA isn't built for mass unemployment, right? And so these plans, they are going through the large corporations when they're looking at their bottom line. They like what they see, right? Because and they keep advancing this technology, and they keep experimenting with, okay, so how can I replace this employee with this bot? Um, but that is where it ends, right? Nobody is doing anything and say, okay, what do I do with that human being that is now unemployed? It, I'm not saying the technology isn't cool. The technology is amazing and it'll probably get there. But nobody is thinking of what to do with that human and how to treat him, uh, or if even to treat him with respect, right? Other than, okay, that's useless now. And what does it mean for eventually you are going to need people uh, who are able to create these machines, right? How do you train them? If a human being doesn't do this work, right? How do you train humans to create these machines? So there's a there's a lot going on other than technology, and that is usually never part of the conversation. Never in a
I'd
meaningful
say
way.
in the fast food, using the Wendy's as the example, they traditionally only have one person doing drive-through, like, they only have one window, most of those places do, so they have one person doing it. That person is just reallocated to actually putting the orders together, or doing whatever in that case. Totally agree with you at the larger scale, that is the $1,000,000 question. What do you do with these jobs that are quote unquote replaced? Um, but I think you could make the same argument about, you know, you can
Everything
make the same
else.
argument about, you don't,
Oh, it's
yeah, companies don't have,
definitely.
companies used to employ dictators, or people that would, dictate notes through meetings, because there was people would just sit there and write and transcribe everything in real time. You don't have people that do that anymore. You just either record the meeting, or have something just do it automatically. So, um, yeah,
Plastic bottles.
plastic
Was
bottles.
Yep, it was a great invention back when, but they didn't think about what's gonna happen with all these bottles that we're not gonna return.
Oh, well,
Yeah,
yeah, but
I
well,
mean,
that's a different
well,
story.
yeah, I mean,
it's similar and different. It's actually a good, in a way, it's a good analogy because one of the things that plastic bottles did, right, was take out much more expensive production. But
mhm,
the moment the production was so cheap, right, then the mass production ramped up, and that's the part that where everything went haywire, right? That's the part where pollution was such a big issue. It's just, okay, we figured out how to make this work faster, cheaper, and we are more effective in creating the content. But we have never thought, as part of developing this new technology, right, of how to get rid of it, of how to take care of it
mhm,
after you're done with it, right? So this is exactly the thing. There's a huge circle, right, of activity that happens, right? Somebody needs to create these machines, somebody needs to train these machines, somebody needs to manage these machines, and in the middle today, this is done by a human being, right? And so this company comes and say, okay, I got a way of making this circle, and I think I can make it better, more tight. It'll be a lot cheaper to run, right? But I need to take this piece and I need to throw it out. And that piece is a human being, right? And so, how do we deal with that? Not part of the conversation. With plastic, it's okay, that piece is planet Earth and pollution and stuff like that, right? And nobody took that into account. I think we're smarter today in realizing that that is where it's going, right? And but policymakers, technology developers, they say, we don't want to deal with it, or they don't even look at it, right? So yeah, it's a weird. It's definitely going to be a lot stranger.
stranger to us, but not strange to the new generation that is growing up with it.
The interaction won't be strange, but the situation will be a unique
Okay,
one.
yeah, pretty neat.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah.
Alan is saying, "Ask the AI if their parents were married." And he says, "How many states do not have a bottle deposit refund system?" I don't know that anybody does anymore, do
New
they?
York does.
Really?
Yeah, you go to
Oh,
any grocery store has big machines that you shoot the bottles and cans into.
oh, nice. Anyway, so, some more story about another story about AI. A man in China's Gansu province has been detained for allegedly using ChatGPT to generate a fake story about a train crash, making China first arrest in an AI related probe as Beijing tightens deepfake technology. The story, which claimed the crash killed 9 construction workers in a city in China northwest western Gansu, gained more than 15,000 clicks after being published on social media on April 25th. The city local police bureau reported China's new rules for deepfakes bar service providers and users from using such technology to produce, release, and fabricate untrue information. The rules, which took effect from January 10th, are designed to curb the use of generative AI technology to alter online content. And there was another story that I didn't save that somebody who's running for office somewhere, I can't remember, dropped out because somebody released some deep fakes about them. They didn't say what it was, but said that okay, I'm not running. It's I mean, I think that China is trying to solve a problem from the get-go, but of course over there things go way overboard.
You don't
We'll
say.
we'll have to wait and see. But it's interesting that
Wait, wait, way overboard compared to what? The
compared to
calm and placid and thoughtful way that the U.S. does things.
well, yeah, all right. No, but
I
I
mean, there's
mean,
only a little bit of difference. I mean,
yeah,
the country that has at this point killed billions of people in their history.
yeah, yeah. All right, Katie,
Yeah,
Google's latest photos trick is
photos.
is a feature it's calling Magic Editor, which uses generative AI to let you make major edits to a photo without professional tools. Google shared a couple examples of Magic Editor in action that are both pretty cool. In one, a photo of a person in front of a waterfall. Google entirely moves the person further to the side of the photo, erases people in the background, and makes the sky a prettier blue. In
That's
another
cool.
photo, Magic Editor scoots a child on a bench closer to the middle of the photo, which generates new parts of the bench and balloons to the left to fill in the space in this example. And again, they're making the sky more vibrant. So you can move things around, and it's again, if it all depends how you use it. If you use it
Mhm.
to create an original something, otherwise, again, it's a fake. If you
This is
can,
it sounds good though because it's for photo editors.
yeah.
So
Well,
that's a huge industry.
they say yeah, but they said that it's allows you to do it without any professional tools. Yeah,
Yeah, but so it makes it easier for the average person to use it, right? But
yeah,
I feel like there's still going to be a quality of a professional versus an amateur. Like, so these pictures probably won't be perfect, and especially if somebody that can is used to seeing a bunch of pictures will be able to see probably, oh, this looks fake. Like people are pretty good at seeing stuff and realizing if it's fake or not. And a professional will be able to get that image and doctor it up some more so it looks less fake and more real. Again, I think it's just another tool of the trade, and it would be great for people that want to edit their photos and they don't need it to look like a professional photographer edited it or whatever.
huh? It's uh, it's definitely a step in the right direction, so to
But
speak.
yeah, anything to make my life easier, I'm all for.
Oh, Nick is gone. This is something for him. All right. Here is a question that came up last night, and I had no answer. Sometimes, like if you go to any site that you need to enter a password,
Mhm.
it says, "We recognize you on this machine, so you don't need to worry about password."
Mm.
So Hannah told me that she's getting this when she goes to her PayPal account. I
Yeah.
said, "Well, that normally happens if you say to remember you." And I mean, it happens with me too, but it's
Or
interesting.
the
It's in
trusted advice or trusted device. Like when I go
Yeah,
on financial websites like
right.
PayPal, if I checked is this a trusted device,
Mhm.
then it doesn't ask for my password again
Right,
if I told it that to save my password. So maybe and it's one of those things that you do it so fast because if you do it all the time, people might
right.
not notice that they actually
So
said
so
save
here
password.
so here's the question. How do you reverse it?
Change your password.
or log off.
Or yeah, or log off.
You can log out.
Yeah, but if you log out and come I mean, I don't
The
go
next
to
time you log in, it'll ask you if to remember this device. But once you log out,
I
that'll when
don't think so because when I go to the bank or I go to PayPal, it does it to me, and I mean, I go maybe once a month, and I reboot in between and
but
every
the bank doesn't remember your login. It might remember your username, but you'll need to put in your password. Specifically, PayPal has a feature called one-click login, and you can switch it on or switch it off again. There's usually a security
Okay,
setting in the profile. Those are
okay,
two
well,
different things, right? It is using cookies. Just clear the cookies. That's one option, right? If you're using, I'm sure Chrome has it as well, but I'm using Firefox. There's a cookie manager extension where you can search for URLs and you can clear that, or you can just there's a shield icon for or a lock icon for the website next to its name, and you can there's a clear cookies button there. So it's like there's always a way of resetting what identifies you.
okay, well, I didn't try that, but that's interesting.
The way it
Yeah,
identifies the machine is a cookie, always. Okay, there's no other mechanism for that. So um, clearing your cookies is the easiest way to start fresh.
okay, all right. Tell And another thing we think I touched on it last week, a password meter.
Yeah, you sent us a website.
Yeah, it is absolutely imperative that everybody will use something like this when they're setting up their own password. You go there, you put your password, and you see how strong it is. Now, you need to pay attention not to I mean, if you go there, it talks about Mozilla, it talks about some others. There's, I think, 6 or 7 different categories that it shows you how strong. And a 15 character password with upper and lower and special characters and numbers and all that is not 10% as good as putting in, and I was playing with it. I put "Here comes Santa Claus" as the password, 4 separate words. And the password with the 15 characters was taking, months or years, not many years to break. offline, that here comes Santa Claus will take centuries, according to that meter. So, yes, to use a phrase is better than using all these password that WordPress generates and many other uh, programs when they give you a a choice. Hey, make your own, or here, use this. I don't, and this is not new. The fact that phrases are better. Why these uh, programs and utilities that you set up your own password in don't give you something that you can see
Well,
how strong it is? I don't know. What? Go
well, they
ahead.
do. Some of them do. So here's the site that you were talking
Yeah,
about. I'll put a link to it. Can you put me full screen?
I can put you full screen.
So let's see.
Yeah, yeah.
Zoom
Scroll a little bit to the left. Yeah,
a little bit. Okay. So
we
here's the site. So the test password one. That's a something that would be a user made password. I'm going to generate a password inside of
right.
Bitwarden and copy this in here and see what this does. So that's a randomly generated password, like what you're describing, Amnon, when you set up a service or something and it automatically generates you. And you can see this one is all right, but then if we did Amnon is a really good show host, you can
This
see how that
this blew
generates
this blew my mind. Now you know what that means.
what, that you're a good show host?
The Mozilla. To them, that password is not good enough.
Well,
But
but if
for
you go back
everybody,
to if
Yeah,
I go
but
back
just
to
add
the
a
other
number.
one,
Add a
but look at
number.
though.
they,
But see, look at this though. Go back to the other one. Mozilla loves the
yeah,
randomly
I know.
generated password.
Right.
So
Now, if you scroll down a little bit, scroll
okay.
okay, scroll down and open the top arrow down.
The details, yeah.
The details, yeah.
Oh,
We
okay.
we lost it. Oh,
Oh, well, so you've got Centuries. Amnon is a really good show
right.
host,
Now
and then
go
if I put
back.
in
Now go back to
the randomly
yeah.
generated one,
Now
still online 3 years. Time to crack 3 years off.
see,
Yeah,
isn't
I
that
guess
amazing?
well, but here's the thing though. This is how they are determining
Yeah.
that. But also, let's also be clear though. The reason why Amnon is a really good show host takes Centuries is it's 3 times as long as the other password. So if I take this password, which is the randomly generated one,
Yeah.
and copy it twice or even 3 times, you can see how the scores skyrocket because
Okay.
However,
it's longer.
And what?
however, you will not be able to remember that.
No, and that's the problem. Well, it's a problem. Maybe it's not. If you use a password generator, like Gal's been recommending for years now, like I do. Okay, I don't know what any of my passwords are outside of my master. Um, is there a way in any of these password generators, Gal, that they will Oh, actually, yeah. So here's the thing, Amnon, inside of Bitwarden, I can generate either a password or a passphrase. So I just generated a
Nice.
passphrase inside of Bitwarden, and here it is: fanning limelight, geranium. I don't even know what word that
Okay.
is.
Geranium. Yeah, it's a plant.
Plant. There you
Geranium.
go. And now it's Centuries because it's a passphrase.
And look,
So you can
and
have these generated in. You still need something to generate them, is what it comes
oh
down
yeah.
to.
Oh,
Because if you're
absolutely.
not generating them, um, but now
But
you also have to deal with character limits. Some websites, a lot of them, limit passwords to 12 or 14 characters
right.
because of what they do.
Especially which sites?
Banks.
Banking sites,
Yeah.
which is like no more than 20 characters.
Yeah,
Or
it's ridiculous.
worse, there is a banking site, one of the biggest banks, it's not the biggest, but like number 3 bank in Israel is limiting me to 10 characters,
Jeez.
Yep.
right? It's like, what the fuck are you doing?
Yeah.
You cannot escape that. It is maddening, maddening. But yeah,
So everybody, I mean, this is free for you to use, and when you come out now, you need to you need something that you can remember, and
Well,
it's
but no, you
every
don't.
what?
No, I
only
disagree.
No, you
for
don't.
one application, your password manager.
Yeah, but the thing is, a lot of people don't use a password manager, and they don't want to get into it, and they
Amnon, we
just
don't like those people.
well,
We tell them they are wrong
yeah,
and they need to use an encrypted password manager that will give
yeah.
them a unique password for every website they're
I'm
using.
not arguing with you,
Stop
but
arguing, damn it.
but it's
No, you're wrong. No, no, you're wrong. I'm
but
done.
the thing is that you everybody remembers something. If it's your favorite song, if it's something that it's always better to put four random words that have nothing to do with each other. Cat, apple, moon, yesterday. That
Damn, that's my password. Now I need to change it.
No, this is not a good one. I just put that in, and it's only 8 years.
are you
The
serious?
And
problem
you're not
is,
gonna remember that, so it's
No.
useless.
yeah, the word needs to be, each word needs to be around 5 characters or more,
Minimum
right?
four. Minimum four. They
Yeah,
say.
and you need a combination of 4 or 5.
Yeah,
And you can add a number as well, right?
absolutely.
And stuff like that. But yeah, there's a way of making it memorable to you,
Yeah,
but hard for a machine to
to
crack,
crack.
right? The whole idea, brute force cracking takes time. It doesn't matter what, right? The
Yeah,
combination is, the longer it is, the more time it takes
right.
to crack. This is, at least for now, right? I mean, when we're going to be in the era of quantum computing, it's
Yeah,
probably
it's
going to
going to be
be a
faster. Yeah,
completely different,
yeah,
because the way these machines work is completely different. But for now, the way is just going one at a time and trying.
right.
So either they throw out random stuff on it, or they throw things in sequence. It's still going to take, to go through the entire set. There's a
Uh,
set time.
Nick, are you? Oh, he stepped out.
He stepped away for a second.
The way that Ron does his, he doesn't use the space. He puts an exclamation in between. That's his space.
Yeah, that works. Yeah.
So that completely, I mean, makes it a lot.
Yeah, I use dashes. It doesn't really
Yeah,
matter. Yeah.
anything in
Yeah, yeah.
between. But it's just interesting that these. We always say that they have. Don't use dictionary words. Yeah, don't
That
use
is bullshit.
one. No, don't use one dictionary word. But
Right.
yeah,
Here's something else, though. Password password cracking is not really a common thing. People's passwords are not getting cracked. They are getting stolen. When somebody is if somebody is getting into your account, it's not because they cracked your password and ran it to um through some algorithm for 14 years. It's that some service
right.
was some company was hacked. They
Mhm.
were storing your password in clear text, and now it's online and it can be purchased by some group that wants to steal your stuff.
Yeah.
I don't know that. I mean, Gal, you follow this stuff a lot closer.
I'll,
I don't know that there's any instance where a password crack was the big thing that broke the camel's back. That's
I'll,
not what's happening.
Well, not precisely. There's password stuffing, uh, which is a combination of what you described and using the most common passwords.
yeah,
So one of the most common passwords is password one
password.
two three, right? So that is a very common password, and that is one of the things that is being tried, probably with any. If you wanna play some risky fun, right? Open an SSH server to the world and start
Mhm.
tracking
The
the
login.
different types of logins, right, that are being attempted. Nobody knows who's running that SSH server, But the moment a port 22 is open to the world, SSH bots are trying to log in and trying to open that, right? That is a common method. It'll try with random passwords, but the most common ones are you're going to see root, you're going to see password, you're going to see common words that show up in password files. So
Wait, hold it, Nick. You have a WordPress site, right?
Yeah.
Do you use WordFence?
Yes.
I see it every day from all the WordPress sites that I host. It's like sometimes you get 20, 30 messages a day about, and WordPress in their infinite wisdom made it so people can go, I think, 20 times, enter passwords, wrong passwords, and then they are blocked. I changed it to 3 on everybody. And you see, it tells you what password they try to use. And many of them are alphabetically going up and then stop. Many of them are stuff that they have already in lists that, like,
That's what I'm coming back to. It's the lists that are the problem. And that's the reason that Gall pushes for using a password manager, because if every site is a different service, or if every site has a different password, when inevitably some company is not a good steward of your data, and is storing your passwords in clear text on an AWS instance that is accessible to the public internet, it's one service. You change your password and you're done. And that's why, whether you're using a passphrase or one of those randomly generated strings like I showed, as long as they're all separate, I don't the cracking to me is not the problem. It's the having the different passwords on every website.
that's very important.
That's more
But
to me, that's more important than whether it can be cracked in 3 years, um
yeah,
or
okay. I
4,000 centuries.
I I
I
I
don't think it
don't think
matters.
I don't think that I think the centuries and years and even months or even weeks are anything but to make a point in that
Well,
program
in
oh, it
because
certain
matters.
instances.
It matters for one thing, for your password vault, for something that must be encrypted with a very, very strong key. So if the file drops off your control, right, like the LastPass hack,
yeah,
right? So vaults were gone, right? Somebody malicious got hold of the vaults. Each of these vaults is encrypted. How long is it going to take to break that encryption? That's where it's key, because the key that you give it is what is the part that needs to be broken. Okay,
okay.
does that make sense? Where that comes into play, it doesn't come into play on my Facebook password or even my Gmail password, but on the encrypted file containing all of my passwords and my credit card numbers and all of that.
Mhm.
Oh, definitely. Okay,
All right.
that's where it counts.
All right. Yeah. Yeah.
As long as you use a different password on every site, you're fine. And the
Yep.
reality is, general people like us are not going to be the targets of a
Right.
cracking attempt or
No.
anything. Now,
Not
where
unless
does
not unless somebody really is after you personally.
even then I don't even then I don't think so.
I don't know.
Where the cracking and that stuff matters is what Gal mentioned with the master password, or with services. Like if you're a you know a for hire hacking group, and you get a client that wants to go after a company, that's where your the cracking ability of your password is relevant. I don't think it's relevant for the general consumer.
No, it's not. You're
You
absolutely
have to use
correct.
a different password on every site. I mean,
Yep.
you're beyond the point of using the same
Yep.
password. Now, doesn't necessarily mean every website, for example, and I do this, and you can say that this is good or bad on things that aren't that important, like forms and stuff like that. I might use the same password a couple of times, and if for that, I mean, okay, great. It's a tech support form or something like that. It's not really that big of a deal. But on anything where if somebody got access to the account, it would be a problem. If you're using that same password elsewhere, that's an issue. And really what it comes down to is like anything else, it's risk tolerance. What is your risk tolerance to do something? Some people's is higher, some people's is lower.
Yeah, and if you use a password manager, you don't need to worry about it. You can use
Correct.
definitely.
I used to stress about password stuff because I had, like most people, you had a same password that you used everywhere. And that, eventually becomes a problem. So it used to be, adding a extra character or a number, and then you're trying to remember, is this the site that I added
Yeah.
an exclamation point? Is this the site that I changed out an A for an at symbol and just all that nonsense? Um, I couldn't tell you the last time that I stressed about a password
Yeah.
because I don't, it doesn't matter.
So don't stress anymore. And are you ready for special?
Well, I'm still going to stress, but so yes. And I'm also ready for specials. Yes. All right.
Ta-da!
So here we go. I thought Gal and Amnon get a nice laugh out of this. So this is how different users react to error messages. Windows, you've got just the uninspired teenager. Mac OS, you've got somebody completely losing their mind, and then the old Linux user who is is ready to debug the issue and really crack down into what's going on. It's amazing what an error message means based on who you are and what services you use.
Yeah.
All right, kind of a
Yeah.
quick specials today. I was not expecting to have a gateway computer on special, um, but this seems to be a pretty nice machine for what it is and its price.
Sheesh.
This is an 11th gen processor, so it is not the newest processor in the world. However, 16 gigs of RAM on a computer is very on a entry level laptop is not normal. It is 8 gigs. Even my machine, which was close to $400 or close, normally it was like $500. I think I got it for close to 300 on sale. 8 gigs of RAM. That's kind of the default for any sub $500 laptop, and hell, even some over $500 laptops. So a little bit of a trade off there, couple generation old processor, still a very nice one. The i5 1135 G7, 16 gigs of RAM and a 512 gigabyte hard drive, or excuse me, solid state drive. This is a 14-inch laptop. It's known as the Gateway Ultra Slim, and I believe these are sold exclusively at Walmart. I don't think you'll find these anywhere else. Um, normally, it says normally 579. I don't think it's ever been sold for that, but it's on sale for 279. It does come with Windows 10 pre-installed, so you'll have to do the upgrade to Windows 11 yourself. It's an older generation computer, but this thing's got some nice features with it. It's got USB-C, so it's got that. It's got a couple of USB 3 ports, a combo jack headphone, a micro SD card slot. It does have some nice feature comforts. I'll note it doesn't charge via USB-C, which is what you would expect, but it's still got HDMI out and stuff like that. So a nice little laptop over at Walmart for 279. You can buy that. You can buy it in store. Excuse me, no, you cannot buy it in store. You have to have it shipped. So that's available over at Walmart. All right, next up. This is a pretty good deal. This is a Roku brand television. So this is the Roku 65-inch 4K smart TV. Obviously, it's got the Roku operating system is the default on it. In terms of ports, it's pretty bog standard for a television um, uh, in this class. 4 HDMI ports, one of them supporting ARC for audio to pass back and forth. So pretty standard there. 60 hertz, just a really, if you're already a Roku person, and you're looking for an upgrade and need a new television, buy this, save one of your HDMI ports, and have the functionality built right back into the television. So you could check this out. They have other sizes and stuff available too in different resolutions. So Best Buy's running sales on the Roku branded televisions. So check that out. $399, save $50 at Best Buy. I thought this device was incredibly cool. This looks like this is just a traditional standard HDMI switch. However, it's bi-directional, which I have not seen. I'm sure that they've been made before, but I haven't seen one at this price. So normally HDMI switches are one port in, two ports out. It's so that you can split a display to a television and a projector, or a projector and something else. This one allows you to do it two different ways. You can feed two inputs into it to one output. So, for example, two video game consoles, an Xbox or a PlayStation, to one input on your TV. Or do what I described, feed a laptop into it and then send it to two discrete outputs to different locations at the same time. So this thing kind of kills two birds with one stone. It is not externally powered, so it gets its power via HDMI, and it's got one button on it that changes whether it's a two in, one out, or a one in, two out. And it's $7, and it supports 4K at 60 hertz. So this is a pretty cool little device.
Yeah.
Might not even be a bad thing to throw in a suitcase or a laptop bag or something if you're traveling around and every once in a while need to jimmy with something and need an extra port or two. So check that out. It's a U Green, which they make a whole bunch of products. I have an HDMI switch of theirs, and that's available over at Amazon. Next up, for folks that need to send HDMI over long distance, upwards of 50 meters, which is close to 170 feet, Monoprice has their Blackbird 4K HDMI extenders, and the way that it extends the HDMI is actually over Cat 5e, over an Ethernet cable, essentially. So you have two different devices, a host and a slave, and you set up the host where your cable box is, for example, or something else. You plug in the HDMI port, you power the device, and then plug in the Ethernet cable. And then, as long as you stay within about 50 meters or so, excuse me, a Cat 6 cable, not a Cat 5e, you can send video upwards of 165 feet, 50 meters over a single cable. On the other side, you plug in the uh, Ethernet cable and then hook up the HDMI to a television or something else. So, for you've ever been in a position where you've needed to send long HDMI and haven't had a way to do it, to be able to do this for less than $100 is pretty remarkable. $76.99. It's Monoprice brand, and it's available over at Monoprice. So you buy it directly from them.
It's not a host and a slave. It's a receiver and a
Yeah.
transmitter.
There you go. Receiver, transmitter, host, slave, host, master. There's a million different terms
You
for
can't
these.
call
They
it-
are
No, you cannot say that word anymore.
Right.
No,
Well,
no,
y-
no.
yeah, maybe
There's
not.
primary and secondary. That's
primary and second. There you go. Come up with your term. Point being, the one device has to go on one side, one device has to
Agreed.
go
Yeah.
on the other. So you
You
can
know
check
'em.
those out. Available over at Monoprice. Let's see. Next up, bog standard HDMI or HDMI, bog standard Ethernet switch. This is just
Well,
a.
with the other box, it's HDMI. You're right.
You're right. There you go. So you can just go ahead and plug in all your between the HDMI splitter and the HDMI extender and then this switch. I mean, you could build an
Exactly.
HDMI monolith of stuff in your house. This is just a traditional 8-port gigabit switch. I've had one of these since February 18th, 2017 is when I purchased this on Amazon, according to them. It's normally $40. It's on sale for $18. Nothing special, unmanaged switch, TP link. This
Hey, it's
thing
on
is-
specials. It is special.
yeah. This is I guess I would have bought this when I was still living in New York. So this thing has been all over the place, and it is still sitting right down here next to me, rocking and rolling, getting everything done. So check that out. Available.
It's
over on
amazing
Amazon.
how many people still have 100 megabit switch like this, and I get not many, but I get a call. Look, I've got 400 megabit internet, and it's still slow. and you never think about the fact. Then I learned when I went to see one. Change them. Any way you look at it, even if your internet is just 100, get one of these and you'll see much better performance.
One of the big reasons to have a gigabit switch is internally if you're doing things. For example, if you're running Gal has talked a lot about Plex and some of these other home media servers.
Mhm.
If you're running one of those internally and you have your devices connected, your Roku's or whatever, or even hell, your smart TV connected via Ethernet, that will make it in all likelihood will make your process a lot smoother. So this is a
Yep.
great device for that.
And if
Well,
you're
obviously, one
and
of the ports has to connect to a router, so you get 7 gigabit Ethernet ports on it.
and if your switch says fast Ethernet, that's 100.
Well, it is fast though in
Yeah.
comparison to base
Yeah.
10. It's incredibly
Correct.
fast.
Correct.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So check that out. Available $18 over at Amazon. Next up, this is a little bit of an older Roomba. I've actually been doing some research on Roombas the past couple of weeks. This one doesn't fit my use case. The iRobot Roomba 960 really excels with carpet. So if you have its suction is not that great, but it works really well with carpet. It's one of the best carpet robots you can get. Um, this is available manufacturer refurbished. So this is coming directly from iRobot in the box with everything as if it was a brand new product. This is a little bit of an older generation. However, these things were $600 or $700 when they were brand new, and they're selling them at on eBay. iRobot is selling them directly for $150. There is a link in the specials with the Slick Deals promo code to save an extra 20%. So you can check it out for $150. Watch some reviews on it, make sure it fits your use case, and then check that out. Katie, I found this while I was doing specials. Costco apparently
Oh,
is selling Zelda for $60. It's in
dang.
store only, and it's apparently not every store. So your mileage may vary, but apparently at select Costco stores, $59.99 is the price for the new Zelda game. So if you're looking to buy it, maybe Costco is your best bet, getting it at $10 less than MSRP. So you can check that out over there. Couple of final products here this morning. This is one of the coolest products that Logitech makes. The K380. There's been a whole bunch of different models and generations of this. This is the most recent one. What makes it so cool is that it connects to three distinct and different Bluetooth devices at the same time. So, for example, if you have a Bluetooth speaker, it might be able to connect to multiple devices, but it has to disconnect from one and then reconnect to another. It's not like you can just easily switch between multiple devices. You have to either turn off Bluetooth on the main device or disconnect it. This is not the case. You connect to 3 different devices. It supports anything that supports Bluetooth: Windows, Mac OS, iOS, Android, anything else that you can connect Bluetooth to. And it's a simple function key and then one of those 3 yellow keys up top that will switch between your different devices. So you can have this at your desk, switch between your computer and your iPad or tablet, or your computer and your phone. And this is normally a $40 keyboard, and you can get it on sale for $27. Available. Actually, yeah, it's even cheaper than the link indicates there. It's $27 on Amazon. So check that out over there. And then finally, I've had these in here before. They're kind of neat. I don't know if it's really technology, but for people that live in an apartment or don't have the availability to do a garden, but still want some sort of fresh um, herb or something like that, you can get this. And the company that's making these is Arrow Garden, and it's an indoor hydroponic garden. Based on the picture, you can see you put these little pods in there, these uh, seed pods or seedling pods. It's got a light that's over it. It automatically waters the device. It's these things are pretty cool. They're normally pretty expensive too. This product normally is upwards of close to $300, and you can get it on sale directly from Arrow Garden for $89, or yeah, $89 if you use a promo code for them, which is in the thing. So you can grow things like baby tomatoes, different herbs and spices, and all of that stuff. And it automatically waters in a essentially just run itself, which is pretty cool. So check that out directly from Arrow Garden. Link in the
Plug it and
specials page.
forget it.
I mean, really, it is like, yeah, literally plug in the, or if you're just too lazy and you're just not, you're not going to keep up with your garden. This is a decent way to do it. I know somebody that has one of these. I don't know if it's an Arrow Garden. This thing is floor to ceiling. It's like 8 feet tall and it's like 6 different stories, and they use it and they grow lettuce and stuff like that inside. And they
Huh.
seem to really like it. So yeah, if you want to get started, check it out. Available at Arrow Garden.
All right, Nick. Thank you very much. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
I'm not buying one of these. I've been tempted, but I have a raised garden bed, and that's always been pretty fruitful. I don't know, something like this seems. My cat will probably end up eating everything that that grows out of it anyway. So we'll just have to wait and see. But yeah, these things look pretty cool.
All right. Let's see what else we have here. If we didn't.
Oh,
yeah, go ahead.
An update from a couple of weeks ago. Actually, at this point, a couple months ago. I was having that problem with my dishwasher where
Yeah.
I just bought a new dishwasher. I couldn't.
Oh.
Yeah, I bought a used circuit board off of eBay, tried to replace it, did continuity testing with a multimeter, checked all the different break points in the circuit for like water flow and everything, and I just could not get it to ever open up the water valve. It actually wasn't getting voltage, and I didn't know why. So new dishwasher's here, loading it up. Hopefully it doesn't burn my house down or flood my house when I use
Nah.
it. So such is life. Sometimes it's just sometimes you just can't fix it.
You need to take it apart and sell the parts on eBay.
I had Home Depot haul it away because I wanted it out of my freaking house, and I
Yeah.
was just fed up and done with it.
Oh well.
Yep.
You
Such is life.
try. At least it wasn't an arm and a leg to
Oh.
try.
No,
What-
just troubleshooting troubleshooting goes one of two ways. It's either so fantastic that you save yourself hundreds of dollars with like a $17 something that you bought, or it is the most infuriating, frustrating, bang your head against the wall, burn your house
Right.
to the ground kind of result. And this one was the
Until
latter.
you solve it.
If it's solvable, yeah. And in this case, having not being a appliance technician, and there being being a gazillion different dishwashers and very little documentation,
So
made it
being a Mac
incredibly tough.
user.
I mean, you don't have to be that insulting towards me. I mean, there's a lot of other terrible things you could call me too.
No, no,
but-
I'm you did it when you started special. You ranked the different type of users basically. So if you're a Mac user to something, then it's infuriating. If you're
I was a Mac
expecting an
user-
error, it's okay, but
No, if
you
I
can't
was a
be a
Mac
Linux user on everything.
if I was a Mac user, it would have stopped working. I would have bought the most expensive one I could have purchased, and then I would have had them install it. And I did not have them install it. I had them just drop it off, and I installed it myself. I would consider myself a half Linux, half Windows user based on my response there.
I would agree.
How dare you, sir? To quote,
I did not
Greta
put you
von
in the
Thunberg,
Mac
how
user.
dare you?
I was talking about the frustration as a Mac user.
I don't know that meme was not frustration. That was SpongeBob freaking out because something happened and he didn't know what to do.
Oh.
So
We got to get Amnon to watch a bit of SpongeBob.
A what?
SpongeBob SquarePants.
Oh,
Yeah, I'm sure Emma needs that in his life.
the best
Right.
television show ever made.
It is. I remember when my kid was watching it, I would watch hover around just to see what type of content, and I would think, oh man, he is missing so much fun by not understanding half of what they're saying. It's
I'm
all
rewatching
those-
now. I'm on season
Yeah.
4, and every episode is like, holy crap! I
Yeah.
can't believe like. No wonder my father used to sit and watch SpongeBob with me. The show's
Yeah.
freaking hilarious.
It is. It is. It's very witty. It's very good. I don't know how it is today, but it's phenomenal.
The original seasons still hold some good weight to them.
All right. I just realized that we not, but I guess nobody's watching on
On what?
Facebook. That I miss
Nobody's watching us, Amnon?
I screwed up with the one of the numbers of the stream. So
Oh,
I just got around to check
on Facebook.
on Facebook and I say, "Oh
Yeah, nobody
shoot,
cares about
we're not on
Facebook.
Facebook. What's going on?" Yeah, that
So, did you guys see the stuff about YouTube?
No,
which
tell
About the
us.
ad blocker?
Yeah.
What do you
yeah.
mean ad
So
blocker?
they're blocking YouTube is blocking the ad blocker. There's many sites that do
Circumventing ad
this.
blockers, yeah.
Yeah.
Hmm.
There I first started seeing this. I for my day job, it's a lot of news articles and stuff like that. And I've seen the trend in the last, it's really started picking up in the last couple of months where a lot of major publications like Wall Street Journal and stuff like that, they will block, they will have, you go to their website and it'll say, you can't access this page with an ad blocker. They are detecting that you're running an ad blocker and then they block your access to the
Yeah, I
website.
run into that, and then I just close the website and never go back.
Well, so that's normally what I'll do, or I'll take the link to archive.is or archive.org and read it there. This is going to be a lot tougher to do with YouTube, and there's a picture here that I
Yeah, for
can.
15 minutes, come on. In like a week or two, somebody will
Yeah.
find a way to circumvent
Yeah.
that.
So this is what it looks like. Um, this is what it looks like. And it says ad blockers are not allowed on YouTube. It looks like it may be using an ad blocker. Ads allow YouTube to stay free for billions of users worldwide. You can go ad free with YouTube Premium, which is like 18 bucks a month or something. And creators can still get paid from your subscription. So you can either click allow YouTube ads, which is likely going to open up your ad blocker and put an exception in there for YouTube, or subscribe to YouTube Premium and then turn your ad blocker off anyway. So that is what they're doing. Um, I haven't seen it yet. I don't know what ad blocker. I'm trying to see what ad blocker the guy.
I'm sure all of them.
He doesn't indicate which one he was using. But that yeah, this is, people in the comments, of course, are outraged. Oh my God, I can't believe they're doing this. And it's like, well, yeah. And
Uh,
they're thinking, oh my God, I can't believe that you're stripping away billions of dollars worth of revenue because you won't watch a 15-second ad. I've actually turned my ad blocker off on YouTube and I've had it off for a couple of years now. I don't watch, the stuff I watch on YouTube is um, it's the content creators I want to watch. So I don't mind sitting through a, hell, even a 30 or 45-second ad to watch a video. Um, I watch a lot of YouTube on my phone, especially at night, and I don't have a pie hole or anything on my network to block ads. So I
mhm.
see advertising there. There was a period of time where YouTube's ads were just egregious. I mean, you'd get these like 4-minute non-skippable ads in the middle of a video, and I was like, "What the hell? Like, this is just
Yep.
not a good user experience." I think they've cleaned a lot of that up, and I I don't fault them for doing this. I completely understand it, and they're well within the right to do it. And I think they are right when they say, you know, you're essentially, you're not, YouTube is free because of the ad revenue. Now, it's not like Google's not making money. I mean, Google and YouTube are the two top visited websites in the world. But there is some truth to that. So,
Well, you can disable your ad block for me because I will keep using it because I absolutely despise ads. And I get it.
and
I
and that's
know
fine.
why, but I can't. My brain just does not like them.
See, you must not watch television.
No, I don't have a
Nope.
TV.
So
I
here's the thing.
I
I
watch
work in
every
radio. I have to listen to 4 minutes of ads every I literally force people to listen to ads. I'm like, "Hey, this is a really great point. You wanna know what I think? We'll be back in 4.5
No,
minutes."
yeah, I watch everything online with ad blocker. And oh, talking about ads. So, I recently subscribed to Paramount Plus because of the shows I watch that just started this weekend. And previously, I paid the premium service, $10 a month, so I wouldn't have ads. But this time I was like, I could sit through it, fine, whatever. So I paid $5 a month, and I watch it on my computer. And I have ad block on my computer. Well, they block the ads. So it's like I'm paying half the price and it blocks the Paramount Plus TV ads. So if you do the $5 a month thing and then you have an ad blocker, that's like you're saving $5 a month.
It's called gaming the system, and you have won. You need somebody needs to bestow the crown upon you.
And
This
yeah,
is
but it doesn't work with everything like you said, like, Twitch, for example, that still plays ads,
Yep.
and it's different between like, with Twitch, they could be ads that somebody, like, streams whatever or something, I don't really know how it's set up, but it used to block it all, and now they're interruption ads like YouTube used to have,
Yeah.
and my ad blocker doesn't get around them. But when I'm watching Twitch, I don't care about ads for that because I'm passively watching Twitch. Like Twitch is on in the background, like your radio show. Like radio ads and kind of passive content like that ads, it's like whatever, I don't really care. But if I'm watching like a movie or a TV show and there's an ad, mm, just
But what it comes down to is, do you have an option? And when you talk about, for example, if you watch sports, which is what people that don't watch TV, a lot of them watch sports on television. You don't have a choice. I mean, you can get up and go to the bathroom or go walk into the kitchen or do something else, but you
Mhm.
can't. If you're watching something live, you're you have to watch the ads. It's just not an option. It's the same thing with radio. I see. I watch YouTube like you watch
Yeah,
Twitch, I
that's
think.
relevant for American sports, so only though,
Yeah,
because
you're right. If you watch,
American
yeah.
sports are designed to be interrupted.
Mhm. Absolutely.
Yeah,
You watch any sort of soccer or any
TV break.
sort of sports out of the Europe,
yeah,
and it's just not a thing. 90 minute, or besides the halftime, 90 minutes of unfederated content.
exactly.
Um, and I guess, I don't mind ads if they're, I'll call them tasteful. And Twitch was really bad with this, and Katie, I'm sure you can attest. The ads on Twitch and at YouTube in over the last couple of years were just ridiculous. I mean, you'd have a 3 or 4 minute YouTube video, you'd watch a 30-second pre-roll ad, and then in the middle of it, another 45 or a minute ad, and then a post roll. And it's like, Jesus, like the ads are half the time of the
Yeah.
content. Now, if I said to you, well, that's what sports are like, which they are, it it's just it depends on how the ads are baked into what you're watching. And
Yeah.
YouTube is really doing their big ads now. And what I see all the time is, even on long videos, 3.5, 4 hour podcasts, it's a 15-second pre roll or two 15-second pre rolls. I don't care about that. That doesn't bother.
Mhm. The thing that gets me is I I will if it's content that I really, really like, I will watch it, and it comes with ads, I'll watch it, it's fine, whatever. If I have an option to get rid of the ads, I'll get rid of the ads. The when you were talking about sports, so I watch sports, but I watch them on my computer because I don't have cable or TV, and so I watch them through the streaming apps. The thing that drives me crazy is, they'll have the commercial breaks, which is fine, whatever, like you said, it's a sports game, but they only have like 3 ads and they play the same 3 ads at every commercial break, and
Yeah.
that drives me even more crazy. Like if there were ads and there was a variety of different ads and it's not the same like, "Oh, Jersey Mike's," and then Danny DeVito comes on, he's like, "Do you like Jersey Mike's?" And he does that every like 5 minutes. I'm like, "Danny DeVito, I'm sorry, but I hate you now."
Jersey Mike's,
But you know why?
TurboTax, and
Yeah.
somebody else is like
Yep.
all the ads on these services. Well, because they sell different ads. So what you see over the air on cable versus what you're seeing online are just we even do the same thing on the radio. If you listen to the live stream versus over the air, you hear two completely different set of commercials. Because it's a double revenue
Well,
generator.
they need people the ad people need to sell more of their ads because literally
Who wants to buy them?
it's the same 3 ads at
Yeah, but it's
every
only
single
Katie with an ad blocker. They don't want to sell them.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, that's the tough side of it, is
Okay, well,
not
here.
everybody's seeing it.
Okay, so on my Roku though, my Roku, for Paramount Plus, you can't get around the ads, or if you can, I don't care enough to do it because it's in the TV format, so whatever. Paramount Plus plays the exact same ad sequence every commercial break,
Right.
and I it's ah!
I agree with you, but the problem is because whoever is paying for the commercials, right? they do not want to risk their money going on to Roku because or Paramount because they do not have the data to say we have our audience there.
Right.
That's right. It's a chicken and the egg thing.
I get
But
it.
that's the problem with any ad based solution.
Yeah,
First,
but
you need to sell the ads.
I could still complain about it though.
Yeah, you can
Yeah,
complain.
we can complain about it all.
You know what I'm gonna do? I'll just buy the ad space, and then I'll just put
You
up a
see,
sign, and the whole thing will be it'll just be complete silence, and they'll say, "You're welcome."
That's even worse.
You joke,
that's
but it is very inexpensive to buy OTT ads.
Stop using these slang things. What are OTT ads?
Over the top transmission. So like when you're streaming something, the ads that are being played, not everybody is seeing those same ads. For example, if you um like there's regional ads, you'll see an ad for something local that doesn't exist everywhere else in the country. I'm trying to think like cookout, for example. You see like a cookout ad. They're not buying that across the entire United States. They're only buying it where there's cookouts. Like there's
Okay.
no cookouts in the
You know,
Northeast.
it makes me
Chick-fil-A is the same way.
well, how much does it cost to buy an ad?
You pay per it's like buying a Facebook ad. You pay per view.
Oh, because that'd be funny if you're like listening in the car on the radio, and then my voice comes on. It's like, "Hey, this isn't an ad. Enjoy this silence. Moment of silence. Nobody died. It's just for you. Enjoy it."
Yeah.
Now, I
that's part of what John Oliver does from time to time. He buys like he's talking about a politician or something, and then they produce an ad and buy the ad time on Fox News or whatever to show that ad while the politician might be looking, stuff like that. Like they're doing it tongue in cheek, but it's possible.
uh, all right. The Biden administration
Huh.
wants to impose a 30% tax on the electricity used by cryptocurrency mining operations. They're a little
Uh-huh.
bit late, aren't they?
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's about them with that's about their MO with everything else that they do.
Well,
So
and it has
what's the difference?
included the proposal in its budget for the fiscal year 2024. In a blog post on White House website, the administration has formally introduced the Digital Asset Mining Energy, or DAME, excise tax. It explains that it wants to tax crypto mining firms because they aren't paying for the full cost they impose on others, which include environmental pollution and high energy prices. Now,
But they are paying for the
yeah,
energy,
they're
right?
paying.
Okay, gotcha. So
Now,
you're buying the energy, and now the government wants to regulate what you're
uh,
doing with the energy.
there was a story that
Great.
I saw yesterday, late last night, so I didn't have a chance to save it. That a lot of these crypto mining, which is gone by the wayside now. I don't know anybody that's doing it.
Well, hold on. It's
Oh,
gone by
it's
the
still
wayside
happening.
for Bitcoin and some of the other big
Yeah,
ones,
yeah,
but for many other smaller coins, it's still
and
Yeah.
very prominent.
they're finding out how to repurpose these machines.
Sure.
AI training.
Mhm. Absolutely.
Yeah,
So now,
GPUs, of course.
so
That's what
now,
NVIDIA's doing. NVIDIA's selling like $100,000 AI cards.
yeah. So if I used to be a crypto miner for Bitcoin, and I've got a basement full of machines, and I was running them and running up my electric bill a lot more than what it is now. They're going to tax me because, hey, you're crypto mining. But now I'm going to do it for a different purpose. They're still going to see the usage and everything. So, am I going to be penalized because I'm just running it and allowing people to train their AI? Here's the problem.
This will be stripped out of the budget, but
Ah,
and this is only the first step. There's also discussions of higher taxing on these digital currencies themselves. This is without getting too far into it. This is all the push for the Fed's digital dollar, which is what the Federal Reserve has already got their digital dollar spec. Just essentially force everybody out of every other industry and then force them into the Fed's dollar that they have control over. Gotta love it.
Mm, mm-mm.
Gotta love it.
Okay, so last week or recent, Hewlett Packard printers recently got a firmware update that blocks customers from using cheaper non HP ink cartridges.
I heard about that.
Customers' devices were remotely updated in line with new terms, which means their printer will not work unless they are fitted with improved ink cartridges. It prevents customers from using any cartridges other than those filled with an HP chip, fitted with HP chip, um, which are often more expensive, always more expensive, not often. If the customer tries to use a non HP ink cartridge, the printer will refuse to print. Now, this this is not something new. Epson and HP had chips in their ink cartridge.
Lexmark.
Lexmark. And years ago, I remember we had chip resetters, a $10 thing that you put on the part where the cartridge connects, and you press a button and it renews that chip. But you have to have a cartridge that had a chip in it. So I'm sure this will happen the same way. Why are they doing it and creating uh, bad feelings with people?
I mean,
And they know they're not going to be successful.
uh, the ones who make the decision think it's a very smart decision on their end, right?
Yeah.
The fact
It
that
is a
they're
smart decision.
idiots, it's not. Not in the
It
long
is.
term.
Why is it?
Why is it a smart decision?
Yeah.
Well, because businesses will buy. Businesses are not going to dick around with.
No, a business who's got hurt right now by HP is not going to look at HP a second time anymore. They're
Okay,
just going to buy Brother or Epson or something else. They won't even look at the direction.
smaller
me.
business, agreed. But once you get past a certain, once you get past a certain once you get past a certain cost and you've got this many employees and you've got this many things deployed, you're just going to deal with it.
Nick,
But
do
if you
you?
lost one day of business because HP decided to update their firmware, right? You're not going to work with them ever
Now,
again.
I agree with that. I agree with that.
Let me ask you
That's
this.
accurate.
Let me ask you this, Nick. Do you really think that there are lots of businesses with inkjet printers on their premises that they have to go and if they're real big, then those printers will have to have a new
It
cartridge
doesn't
every
matter,
day.
Amnon.
No, no.
Yeah,
It
no,
doesn't
I
matter.
mean,
I
you're right.
think they're all using lasers anyway. This is about ink.
But here's the thing. Most of these businesses have print vendors anyway, and you're
Exactly.
paying monthly,
Yes,
and they're just
that-
going to raise your
okay.
bill by $15 or $20 a month,
Yeah,
and you're
this
not going to bat an eye at it. And then HP can generate hundreds of millions of dollars in additional revenue. Now, for people like us, Gal, that think this is absolute horseshit, which it is, we'll revolt, and I mean, not that we were going to buy an HP printer anyway.
I
but
won't.
we're not. What?
I won't. I don't
I
buy.
wouldn't have bought an HP printer prior to this. I
Right.
mean, I don't know that I would ever have purchased an HP
Yeah.
printer.
Look,
Um,
I have an HP, right?
I have an HP
I've
too.
talked about it. I have an HP and I'm on their subscription, but it works for me because I don't print a lot. I looked at it. I am now in my fourth year of subscription. The amount of money I paid them, right? And I've replaced a complete set of genuine ink by now. The amount of money that I've paid them does not match the the price of a complete set. Like if I went to the store and bought it.
Mm.
So for me, it works, right? Am I happy by what they did? Of course not. It's and am I going to recommend an HP to anyone else? And not unless they understand the caveats of using something like that. it's completely bullshit. I agree. Uh, uh, it's it's just going to hurt them in the long term.
Yes.
Lexmark lost like completely, right? They went bankrupt after they did that. Now, is HP too big to fail? I don't know. I don't know. I don't think there is such a thing of being too big to fail. If you make a bad business decision and you stick with it, you're going to fail,
Nobody
right?
is too big to fail.
Exactly.
The bigger they are, the harder they fall. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well,
I also have an HP printer and I only use black and white because I'm just printing um Etsy receipts kind of thing or order slips or whatever and people buy my art or whatever. I'll
yeah,
just
but
ship
the
it to them.
problem with these printers, and it's a big problem, there's a big problem with it, is to find the white toner.
White toner.
Yeah, it's black and white, you say.
Now,
Isn't the paper white? What are you talking about?
now, Katie, are you using an inkjet?
Yeah.
You
See,
are?
if you're just printing receipts, you need to get a cheap laser printer
Absolutely.
Yeah. Yeah.
because
No,
you'll literally
sorry.
fill it up once.
Not a well, it's an order slip,
Yeah,
so it
yeah,
has
but
when
it's just
somebody
text.
orders. Yeah, yeah, it's just text.
You
Yeah.
need to get a laser.
Yeah, yeah, I'll do that next. So I got this printer. The reason why I got it is because I got it on a Black Friday deal where it was like 30 bucks or
Yeah,
something.
Okay, yeah, yeah.
And
that's
and I got it
How they
and
get you.
it's worked fine. I've only had to replace the ink once, I think, and I've had it like 3 years and it still has the original color cartridge because I knew
Oh,
going
perfect.
in that the ink was going to be astronomically expensive. But for like Gall said, for what I use it for, it works out. Now, if I keep having to replace the black ink, then I'll definitely look into getting a laser printer. But the thing I bought first, actually, talking about printers, is I got a Zebra label printer. So that has helped a lot, and I put a pretty penny into that. That I think it's a laser printer, but it prints shipping labels, and that's the thing that's pretty good. So the next step is to update my
yeah, I
printer with
mean, if
something
it
else.
works, and obviously it works for a lot of people, it's just a matter of policy. And when people think about it, oh, geez. Oh, let's see what else. Here's a story. Well, there was something that I wanted for Nick. What was never mind. I guess we already done it. All right. TV providers in the US collectively lost 2.3 million customers in the first quarter of 2023.
Ouch.
With the first quarter decline, total pay TV penetration of occupied US households, including for internet services like YouTube TV and Hulu, dropped to 58.5%, 58.5%. The lowest point since 1992. This is coming from Variety, citing a report from Moffett Nathanson. As of the end of the first quarter, U.S. pay TV services had 75.5 million customers, down nearly 7% on an annual basis. So it's still dropping and dropping and dropping. Doesn't make us feel bad, does it?
Well,
Who's
not
feeling
only
bad
are
about that?
not only are cable TV subscriptions dropping, Disney released some stuff about Disney Plus, and they're hedging subscribers as well.
Yeah,
I think
and
Disney is merging with Hulu. I mean, Disney owns Hulu,
not
but
with
Hulu was a separate service, and now Disney Plus and Hulu are going to be one thing.
yeah, and they're
Yeah, and
going
ESPN's in there too, I think.
they're going to add some of their programming to Disney.
They have no choice. You can't charge somebody $16 a month for all of these services. I mean, it's not economically feasible to be subscribed to more than.
Separately, you mean?
Say it again?
You mean separately? I agree.
Yeah, yeah, and yeah. I mean, it's just you can't. No, nobody can justify $12.99 here, and you can't do it for more than probably 2 or 3 services before it becomes it makes no sense.
Right, but do remember, right, when people were regularly using cable TV,
Mhm.
and purchasing, and cable TV was they perfected the art of ramping up those packages on you, right? You would end up with 150, anywhere from 150 to $250 a month paying for entertainment content to your TV. Doesn't matter that you didn't really consume it, you were paying that, right? And every single subscription company like that, they see that and they're looking at that, and that's their goal, which is the wrong goal, right? No matter how you look at it, we never wanted to pay that amount, but somehow they got they got through with it. Uh, and and for some reason, these Disneys and their Netflix and the Paramounts and the NBCs, right? They think that they can still get to that point. They're still in that delusional state of mind that that is the way the business should operate, and we haven't got them to the breaking point where they rethink this model. So we're still stuck there.
I
There's
think we're close.
still,
Hmm.
yeah.
I think we're really close. I think
I
I
hope
think
so. But
well, I'll tell you what's gonna push it. What will do it is continued strain on the economy, because one of the first things to go are leisure services, which
yeah.
include entertainment, whether that's television, streaming, video games. Entertainment is one of the first things that people will cut out of their budget. Um, and if you're being crunched, you can probably just. Katie, how much is a Disney Plus subscription?
$80 a year. I actually just went and canceled it because I forgot that I had it as an annual subscription.
That $80 a year was probably a starter rate though, because it's over $12 a month, is it not?
I don't know. I just have Disney Plus. I don't have Hulu or ESPN. I took whatever the basic was,
Let's see.
but I just saw
It's
It
online.
not
might be
cheap.
$80 with, $12, $12 a month with a month or 3 months free or something like that.
Yeah, yeah, probably.
I
Yeah,
also got in on Disney Plus when it just came out, and they're doing that promotion where you get 3 years for the price of one. So I bought it that first time. I guess it was like $80, and then I got 3 years, and so I don't know if what it is now, but I just looked at my account because I just canceled the subscription, and it said $80 for an annual subscription for
it
me.
looks like it's for the one with the one without commercials is $11 a month. So, you just
Oh,
that's not the most expensive. I think Netflix is over $15 now. Their stuff is outrageous. Um, but yeah, you will see large cuttings in this industry, especially if the economy continues to slide.
Well, now they're screwed with the Writers Guild
Oh yeah.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
talk about it.
Right.
strike. Yeah. Nothing to talk about it. Writers are asking for better pay, better
From
uh,
Netflix,
From
Everybody.
from
from
everybody.
everyone,
anybody. Yeah.
Yeah,
from everyone.
my friends over in California who work in the entertainment industry, they're all on all of their shows are are canceled until they get this fixed. The last time there was a writer strike, a lot of shows got canceled. Like what was that Superman show or that got canceled? And then that I'm like blanking. Hero. Hero was a show that everybody liked, and it got cut because of the writer strike. And um, yeah, so hopefully they'll make a
Huh.
deal soon.
The real issue that they're striking over is the royalties for streaming.
Mm.
That's
Right.
the big thing that they're battling over. Now, I despise unions, so I don't have much sympathy, but they're that industry is very similar to what you've seen with music, where artists, bitch and complain about the Spotify, pennies per stream or whatever it is compared to selling a full album. It's the same thing now with
Oh,
television.
no, it's not. No, that's actually a very, very important distinction. So the reason it's not is because right now, writers who had royalties from TV and syndication, they are completely cut out
That's what I'm
of
saying.
streaming.
Yeah,
Completely cut out. Not
yeah.
not even pennies. Yeah. So
Yeah, I was explaining the
yeah,
transition. There was that transition from selling
right.
physical copies or full albums on iTunes to streaming, and the television and movie industry has not figured out how to. Well, I mean, they don't want to pay them, of course. I mean, that's what it comes down to, and that's what they're battling over. Is and unlike it's unlike Spotify. I don't it's gonna be a lot harder to it's probably gonna be a lot harder to deal with that in terms of streaming. If somebody how can you tell if somebody watches a full show? I mean, there's just a lot of stuff that's gonna go into it, and determining how to generate because there's no like, syndication was the big money. I mean, that's Jerry Seinfeld is a billionaire because of syndication of Seinfeld.
Mhm.
Um, that's why. That's not happening now, and it's not going to under the current way that it's written.
And there was a story that Amazon now is going to license some of their original material videos to other providers.
They have no choice.
I don't.
I mean, you can't the siloing of content is great, but not when there's 70 silos.
Mhm. Oh yeah, true.
I mean, it's amazing that God, tell me if I'm on base with this. The segmentation, the segregation of streaming services and their content has led to, I think, a huge increase in piracy.
Probably, yeah.
When Netflix first came out and it was like $7 a month or whatever, it was like, well, screw this. Why bother pirating something when I can just pay a couple? That's the reason I use Spotify. It's easier to pay $8 a month than it is to torrent music. And that's not happening with television. The services are so expensive and there's only one or two decent things to watch on every single service that it's like, well, I can pay, you know, 11 to 8 to 11 to $15 a month for a service for one show or two shows, and it's just not justifiable. So you just torrent it or watch it on some weird video site.
And you're actually brushing off an important part. I'm still paying for some of the pirated stuff that I consume because I don't want to be tracked, right? So I do pay. It's just what I need to pay to not be tracked is minuscule compared to actually
Yeah.
buying the content, and the amount of content that I consume does not merit what I should pay for if I was streaming it legit.
It would be the equivalent if Spotify did not have every song on it and that Sony Entertainment had their own music streaming service and Atlantic had their own music streaming service. And you had like six different services and you had to juggle what band is on what record and on who's publishing it. That's what's going on with television right now. Um, there are certain
Right, and you
shows that
still have that only for a limited release time,
yes.
right? So that's fine. I'm
Well,
okay
and
with that
maybe
type of segregation.
Well, and it's funny you mentioned limited release because that's what the video game industry does. For example, Microsoft or Sony will pay for the exclusive, not for the game, but for like the first DLC pack. So for the
Right.
first 3 months of a DLC package for a video game, it's only available on PlayStation. And Sony forked out likely tens of millions of dollars for that. But then it makes its way over to Xbox and PC. Maybe that's what these streaming services need to do. Now, there's a couple of shows that can justify it. You think of things like Stranger Things and Yellowstone, the really, really popular shows. But most of the other stuff is just noise. And it's not going to get it just gets kind of lost. People do pay for Netflix just for Stranger Things. And they pay for it all year, even though there's not a new episode every year or new season necessarily every year. They pay for it because they really, really like that show. And then of course they watch other stuff on Netflix. But there's very few shows that can demand that. Paramount does that with Yellowstone, but it only lasts so long. So yeah, I like the idea of a time release. Why can I not watch, you know, the first 2 seasons of Stranger Things on Amazon Prime.
Right.
That would require way too much coordination between all the streaming platforms that are
Well,
competing with each other.
the other alternative is just continued fragmentation of the user base and nobody's subscribing to the I mean, Disney is in rough shape right now. They are getting absolutely hammered between ESPN and dwindling cable subscriptions to Disney Plus really just not able to um Disney Plus just not able to separate itself in the market. Disney's in rough shape revenue wise.
Oh,
It's in large part because of streaming.
all right. At Google I/O on Wednesday, Google said that all Gmail users in the US will soon be able to discover if the email address has been found on the dark web. Is this not the same as have I been pawned? Thing?
Yeah,
Wait,
something like that.
you don't need Google to tell you or whatever you just said company. I'll tell you. Everybody's email is on the dark web. You don't need to check. Every single person's email has been compromised at some point or another from a website.
It
This
will.
is a shot at what is it? Norton offers a product that is it's called like Identity Shield or something like that. And one of their big things is scanning you on the dark web or whatever bullshit they say. So this this is a direct competition at that. Have I been pawned is for passwords though and
No,
services.
for personal information, basically,
Yeah,
Yeah.
anything.
yeah,
But it's based on email. So the moment you put your email in, that is what it will report on. It'll tell you, okay, this email is associated with this amount of password hacks or stuff like
yeah.
that. So yeah.
Hmm.
It says that once enabled, it will allow Gmail users to scan the dark web for their email addresses and take action to protect their data based on guidance provided by Google. For instance, they'll be advised to turn on two-step authentication. Google will also regularly notify Gmail users to check if their email has been linked to any data breaches that ended up on underground cybercrime forum. I mean, I don't know how much is have I been pwned is being developed and new features and all that, but I know it's sort of like built into Firefox, right, Gal?
Well, there's a lot of I don't know about built into. There are products that use its API. Um, you can use the API on your own for your own domains and stuff. Um, I if they're talking specifically of integrating have I been pawned uh, mechanism, I'm all for it. If they're talking about doing something of their own, I don't really care. The reason I abide by have I been pawned is because the way it's developed, the person who's developing it, uh, the integrity behind it right now is airtight, right? And the moment somebody like Google touches it, it's a problem, right? It's because they do not have that integrity.
Yeah.
They're a great company overall. We all use their products, right? We like dishing them. They have, but they do have bad practices in their business. And when it comes to security and feeling of protection, right? We do not associate that with Google. I'm guessing they are trying to change that. This is not the right move. At least not doing it in the way they do, like unveiling it in Google I/O as a new feature. This will not bring me closer to Google. Okay, nice to have. Maybe all of the services they need something like that. Show me how it's done behind the scenes. Don't tell me of what is the value I'm getting out of your product, right? Explain to me the technology. Explain to me what's going on behind the scenes. make me trust the way you work with my data. And we're not going to see that from Google. Anyone, from
No.
anyone, not from Apple, not from Google, not from Microsoft. We're not going to see that. Won't happen.
Oh. All right. And last thing here, according to the information, Microsoft wants to bid to make Bing Firefox's default search engine. The browser's contract with Google is set to expire this year, at which point Mozilla could either renew it or switch to a different search engine. Microsoft would very much like to take Google's place in Firefox. It's not a guarantee that it will actually help boost Bing usage. After all, Firefox users who don't want to use Bing could just switch to a different search engine, as Yahoo found out a few years ago. But Microsoft sees potential in such a deal.
Yeah. I mean,
Uh,
anything that
it's
will bring
business.
money to
Yeah,
Firefox, I am okay with it.
yeah,
They have yet to, I mean, they've done some bizarre talking about practices and trust and right, like before. They've done some bizarre choices monetary wise along the ages, but they've never really failed on their mission. So and if a choice, they had a problem back in the day where searches were collected automatically for data mining, but they reverted back. They always switched to the more sensible uh, uh, approach, the more sensible privacy centric practice. So whatever brings money to Firefox, I'm in, right? If there's going to be a bidding war and Microsoft is going to win, good for Firefox.
yep, yep. ChatGPT comes to Firefox.
Maybe.
Yep. Okay. That's all I've got. And it's about time.
Uh huh.
Anything else anybody wants to bring up?
Um, nope.
You
It's getting
Well,
sure?
hot out.
You
Oh,
sure?
I'll talk about how proud I am. So when I mow my lawn, my new lawn, I have a front yard and a backyard, and usually I get so tired when I mow the front yard, I can't do the back, so I have to like separate out in 2 days. But this past when I mowed on Friday, I did the whole yard, front and back, and I was like, "Oh, look at me getting stronger." I probably helped too that I went to Walmart and picked up one of those cooling towels. Like you get it
Yeah.
wet and you leave it on your neck. That helped out a lot. So maybe that's it. Maybe I was just getting overheated beforehand.
I'll have
Um,
in specials next week the new there's a lawnmower that somebody is making. It's an AI lawnmower. It's like
what?
$5,000, but it's like super cool.
I do need a new lawnmower. My lawnmower's like 20 years old. I've
Well,
inherited
if you
it.
have 5 grand, this thing will cut your lawn for this thing
Yeah,
will cut its lawn by itself.
I'll buy that AI lawnmower with that $15,000 toilet.
Yeah. I to have the best, you got to pay the best. I mean, it is
Yeah,
what it is.
living the high life. It's funny though, I was actually watching a video where it was some dude that had a boatload of money, and he's like, "I don't spend money on anything except one thing, and that's appliances for my house." And my wife thought I was crazy because I spent $15,000 on a toilet, but now that's the number one thing when people come over to their house that they talk about, that they love the toilet and they want one themselves. And so I'm like,
Hmm.
"Dang, I need to try out one of these expensive toilets." Not that I'm gonna buy one, but
Hmm.
I'll let my butt grace one.
It's like the whole situation with a boat. It's fun knowing somebody that owns a boat.
Yeah, you don't wanna own a boat.
Exactly.
Boats are anyways,
All right. All right. Well,
Well, it's Mother's Day,
yep.
so go to your mom and install a password manager for her.
So she won't know what she won't have to get on.
And teach her how to use it.
Yeah.
yeah,
Make
yeah.
make make it trustworthy again.
Yep. All right. Anything else, guys? Nope. All right. So thank you, Gal. Thank you, Katie, Nick, and Spence. Get home safe. And again, happy Mother's Day to everybody out there. And good morning to Kathy, Hannah, Nabil, Mac, Norm, Dana, Dina, Mati, Eleanor, Sarid, Yaakov, and Yael. Thanks, everybody, for tuning to Computers 2K Now. We hope you enjoyed and maybe learned something from our time together. Remember to practice safe computing. Back up your hard drive and update your virus scanner. And go ahead and change your password that you repeatedly using the same one on different sites. Change it. Use unique password. We'll be back here next Sunday at 9, but you can always reach us at computers2know.com. And remember, Monday through Friday, 6 to 9 a.m., Nick is on Wilmington's 980 The Wave and 107.9 FM with his daily news and commentary show. You can tell your Echo device to play 980 The Wave, or you can go to the recordings afterwards to nickcraig.com. And Tuesdays, 7 p.m., Nick and Brian do the Infection podcast on Twitch. That's for survival games and gaming news and some politics. So Tuesday evening, 7 p.m., twitch.tv/infection podcast. Again, have a happy Mother's Day, everybody, and we'll be back together next Sunday.
You are tuned to the Nissan Communications Network. If you tuned in too late, you can always watch each program in its entirety or download an MP3 audio file of it in the archives section at nissancommunications.com. Don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel, follow us on Twitter, and like us on Facebook. Sponsored by StreamingGear.com, Carolina Apparel, and DeltaForce.net.